Alright, welcome to Duskwood. So in the previous episode we got everything from Melon Forest, and then we headed here. Here we have quests, we have zone drops, we have battle pets, we have rare spawns, and we have a lot of vendor items to get through. If you're not familiar with Zone Locked, it's as it sounds. You lock yourself to a zone. I lock myself to level 30, and I try to collect all of the things in a zone. Starting off with the vendors, I went to the Tailoring Supplies Sherry Zip Stitch and got her patterns. Then we headed over to the blacksmith. We got all the weapons, we got all the armor. Some of the greens aren't always there, but none of them were upgrades. I got them all eventually. And then we headed over to Kha'Zix, who sells a couple offhands, a few recipes, belts. Nothing really that special. It took me about 3 days to get everything from him. While in Duskwood, I was able to get some iron, and I was able to get some gold, so I completed the camera quest that's in Stormwind. I was able to get some fishing pools, so I got an achievement there. I got my Stormwind fishing achievement done, and then I caught one of the large fish in Elwyn Forest while I was doing that. Duskwood is also the first zone that adds significant items to chests. A lot of blues, most of them are pretty bad. I got a ring upgrade, a bunch of appearances, and if you don't know how chests work, it's basically sorted by zone and level. So Duskwood has a pretty limited pool. I got a lot of duplicates, but I don't think there's really any way to see if I got all of them. In the bottom right corner there, you'll see everything that is on the list for silverbound treasure chests. Most of these we won't see until we get to Wrath of the Lich King or Burning Crusade or higher level zones like the Plague Lands. One of the first things I did was I headed down to the crypts underneath the western part of Duskwood, and that's where I farmed out most of the black metal pieces. There's the black metal axe, the black metal greatsword, short sword, and war axe, which all have really cool appearances that I like. Tons of greens, tons of cloth. It's probably somewhere I'll come back when I have to make a tailor at some point, because it's just such an easy place to farm a lot of mobs at the same time. There was also a rare at the entrance, Lord Malithrum. I don't have clips of him later. I got all of the stuff in 2 kills, maybe 1 kill. It was very fast, and I wasn't thinking when I got into the zone. While I collect a couple things in the background, I did want to mention this is the first zone where archaeology is available. I didn't have any archaeology spots, but as soon as I do, I'll be doing them whenever they're up in any of my zones until I 100% Eastern Kingdoms archaeology. Chances are that's not going to happen anytime soon because there's cataclysm zones included in those, so at one point or another it'll probably all get to like the Twilight Highlands, and I won't be able to finish it until we get to cataclysm. If there's any way to work around that, I absolutely will. I just haven't thought of it yet. I don't think there is. I know there's an item in Mist that scatters your archaeology sites, but I think that's just for Mist zones. I got my first Bind on Equip Blue, the Searing Blade. Looks pretty cool. The chance on hit thing is useless. I tried it for a little bit. It doesn't really do anything. I got a Cryptbone Staff, and then I went right on to the Dark Runner's Boots. At the time of editing this, they sell for about 22,000 gold, and if you're looking for them for the appearance, or you're doing this type of account, I would come here first, because at least to me, it doesn't seem like they shared spawns with the other Worgen that kind of wander around this forest, but I was only able to get about 2 or 3 of them to spawn at a time. It's definitely a slow grind if you get unlucky. Also, you can see it on my character. I found a mail helmet. It's the only helmet I've gotten that's even somewhat decent. It has critical strike and versatility on it. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if I unequipped it at one point and vendored it because it was a mail item, and I was like, why do I even have this still? Now I don't have a helmet. Next we have the Defias Mage Ring. It's a plus 10, plus 11 intellect ring. It dropped pretty frequently. I think I had like 6 of them by the time I got the item from the rare spawn. This is one of the things that I'm going to keep for future alts, like mages, warlocks, priests, even shamans. It's a decent ring if I get unlucky while I'm leveling them. I have been throwing stuff to the rogue every now and then, but I had no reason to use him for this zone. So here's a bunch of clips of a bunch of random items here. And also where I learned that apparently zone drops can upgrade in quality to rare. I had no idea, and then we're going to head over to grab the Ogre Mage Staff. So I'm going to show you how I collected this one. I killed everything outside and then went inside the cave, and we're looking for the Splinter Fist Firemongers, and they share spawn with all of the other ogres here, so kill everything you see. And of course I took the opportunity to mine everything from iron. There's gold in the cave, sometimes silver, and what's special about this item for anybody is at the time of recording this, it's 74,000 gold on the auction house. It's pretty cool. I really like the look at it. It's like simple, it's colorful, it's not too bad. And then by the time you're done inside, you go back outside and you start pulling them all again, and it's really not too bad of a grind. This is mostly what I did when I was waiting for rares to respawn in this area, because it's a 2-hour spawner, and even if you're switching from chromie time to war mode to basic timeline to war mode, it still sucks getting kills. And they also drop a few other items, a chest piece, an axe, and a mace. I had probably 6 or 7 of each of them by the time I got one. I'll admit I got really lucky. I got my first one on 654, and then I got another one less than 200 kills later, 809. I think by the time I left the zone I had 1,400 kills. Was a decent passive gold income for my account, because I'm sure I'm going to need it eventually, because they drop a lot of greens, so I just vendor those. They drop some cloth, and I get the ore. It'll probably also be a halfway decent place for when I need to do enchanting, and come here, and each ogre drops a different green, so you're getting a steady supply. These last 2 drops will kind of wrap up zone drops for us. The Skeletal Longsword, which is a nice model, and one of my favorite models, for early game at least, is the Staff of Horrors. I think it's just a nifty little staff. Definitely very spooky. So after that, I really just kind of went right on to quests. I did them all in one big batch. Compared to Hellwind Forest, these quests are much more interesting. I mean, of course, there's a lot of the, oh, go kill like 16 spiders or whatever, and you do that like 3 times. But there's a few really good quests here that I highly recommend reading through. I'm not going to read them for you, sorry. But I got a couple achievements doing them, like the fashionista ones. Really good gold for these quests, like 20 gold every quest I do. Other than that, I didn't really record much of it. I got them done, I read them, enjoyed them, took my time, and so far, these are my absolute favorite quests. I'm sure some of you can relate, but I've never actually read these quests as I've done them. I think the last time I did most of the quests in Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor was when I was 16 years old, and that was before Cataclysm. And it's really the change of pace I needed for World of Warcraft lately. Instead of just rushing to max, doing a couple weeks of dailies, getting burnt out, and then coming back, like, 2 months before a new expansion, and trying to cram in a bunch of collections before it hits. So I missed recording the last quest, and that gave me an opportunity to mess with WoW Model Viewer, which is a really fun little program. If you do anything like this, it's definitely worth checking out. Just on to rare spawns. Rare spawns really weren't super interesting. They didn't drop anything that I thought was cool looking. They don't drop anything super expensive, give or take like 2. First off, we had Neuraxis, which I got done in 25 kills. The Neuraxis Fang and the Husk of Neuraxis. Neither upgrades. Got it pretty early. After that, we have Nefaru. I got her done in 16 kills, which was kind of a bummer because there always seemed to be gold ore and a chest up in that cave every time I went. Other than that, We got Fenros. I got Fenros done in less than 15 kills. I got really lucky with most of these rare spawns. Of course, I didn't do it when I was going for the Dark Runner boots like I should have. I should have just been checking that and then doing a couple kills, switching Chromie time, doing that again. Lupos, he was another rare spawn I got done in just 2 kills. So that was really nice. I'm missing one clip, but you can see the other one. And that's it for those rare spawns. I wanted to show how I do this, just in case some people are confused. And if you go to Chromie in Stormwind, you can hit Return to Present Timeline, and she'll take you to the present timeline. And if you talk to her again, you can hit Select Timeline. You can pick any of them on the list. They all share I don't know what you call them, shards or phase or whatever. And the reason I had to do this so much was because of the 2-hour spawn timer. And Marina Desirus was a pain in the ass. I killed her 65 times before I got the mace. Which, I mean, like, for the classic WoW look, I think is pretty unique. I like it a lot. It sells for 100,000 gold to 150,000 gold, which is kind of crazy. And I noticed she's dead almost all the time on my server on normal time. Alright, after that, I just have pet battles left. I don't have clips of me going for the well-read achievement. I did read all the books. I was pretty thorough when I went through the list. There's no achievement yet for it. That'll be a long ways away. But, you know, I got the Widow Spiderling, the Black Rat, the Mouse, the Skunk, the Rat Snake, the Duskwood Spider, and the only one that gave me an issue was the Roach, actually. Something about it, I just couldn't get it blue. I think it took me about 65 to 70 pet battles before I finally found a blue one, which it has to be extremely unlucky. It sucked. That's kind of a wrap up for this zone. We're gonna go into our list on all the things. We're gonna look it over. I'm gonna tell you the stuff that I didn't get and why I didn't get it. Most of it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to come back later. But this was a really fun zone. I liked it a lot. Alright, my previous clip from maybe 3 months ago got deleted or moved or something. I can't find it. But I wanted to go over all the things here and show you what I wasn't able to get. We got the 90%, almost 91, pretty good. There's the Legion Hall stuff that I can't do. Pet Battle stuff, we can't do Eric Davidson. I think you have to go to Westfall and then Red Ridge, and then he sends you back to here. So we'll be back here later. Got all the quests done. For rare spawns, there is the Forlorn Composer. We can't even get these until we do the Garrison quest for Warlords of Draenor. With that, all the rares, I'm not going to show you remote zones because there might be spoilers in there, but they're pretty much just breadcrumb quests. Vendors, we have all this stuff. Anything with an X next to it is on a bank or an alt. I can't learn them yet. Other than that, we got everything here. There's these, we got a bunch of these, we got all this stuff. Tailoring. Okay, that's a turning quest. But yeah, 90%, that's the highest so far. Alright, well here's the roll. The only thing I probably don't want is Stranglethorn, because that'll be a nightmare. But I'll see you in the next one.